Coming up on Pat and Paul, we got weather and traffic on the 10s.
On the 10s.
Big announcement at the top of the hour, but Pat, first, at the quarter, 15 after, we got a big guest coming in. We got a great get in Matt Van Bergen. I can't believe we got this man in the studio. We thought he'd be calling in on the hotline.
All the way from the 13th floor.
He's
coming in.
We thought he'd be calling in on the hotline, on the Pat and Paul hotline.
He's going to be here in studio.
Pat.
He will be here in studio.
We got Matt Van Bergen with us. Matt, what is your role at ICF currently?
I run the digital division here at ICF Olson.
You're nice. And you're going to Adobe Summit next week. You excited? How many times is this for you now?
Oh, gosh. Good question. Last year I went for one day because it ended up being overlapping with spring break with the family. But prior to that, I would consider back in the day software days, they had a conference called Day Ignite. I want to say that I did 3 of those.
Okay.
And then every single summit since Day Software was acquired.
So you're a seasoned summit
a lot.
Coming up on a decade almost of
Yes. And it used to be a little bit easier on the body with being in Salt Lake City. The mountains and everything like that, but now in Vegas, it takes a toll on you even more.
There's a certain level of discipline one could apply,
yes.
If one so desired. Yeah. So what are you excited to see this year at Summit? You got anything that you think is you're really looking forward to?
I always look forward to booth time and just talking to people that I haven't met before and listening to why they're there, the challenges they have. I really enjoy that part of it.
Yeah.
A lot of people say, hey, you preparing anything? Are you doing anything special? And, I always just say, okay, get a good night's rest the night before heading out there, right? Because it's usually a 24 times 4 days, whatever it is, adventure. But I pack whatever dry clean shirts and go and every day. I don't have really many expectations other than just hoping that you get a chance to talk to our just clients or new, whatever it might be. And then, of course, we always have meetings with Adobe, some executive level meetings, which is always good because you get some insight and we get to share what we're doing that's exciting. But the concert's always a interesting, fun thing to do as well, right? Death Cab for Cutie is here or in Vegas this year, which will be pretty cool, huh? Pat, one of your bands, I think.
It'll be something.
Yeah.
Get ginned up, do some crying.
Yeah. Are you going out for the show, Pat?
No, I couldn't handle that.
No. You're too emotional. You're too fragile. Yeah. You'd break.
I think I heard about Death Cab for Cutie the first time from Pat here.
Yeah, that was a while ago.
Yeah.
I was heading to a show.
Yes, I think you were telling me that. I'm going to see the show, and I checked them out, and they became
it's crazy young kids.
Popular.
Yeah,
I know.
Just the kids.
Yeah.
So, Matt, would you say that the type of people coming up to the booth has changed over, say, the 10 years you've been going out? Like early on, was it more enterprise government work type people coming up, and now is it more marketing focused, or has it always kind of been about the same type of people that have come up to the booth?
So the type of people, if we go back to, let's just say, Day Ignite days, right? That was a little bit specific. Maybe more IT technology people, although there was a good fair amount of people on the marketing side. But I think because CQ was the content management system, that was a dual ownership type thing. And back in those days, marketing didn't know what IT did. So you interacted a lot with the IT people. I think ever since Adobe acquired Day and it became part of a broader family with analytics, Target, and all these other products or platforms, it's pretty common that there's somebody that's coming to the booth that's from marketing. And Adobe does a really, really good job of segmenting their audience and getting the right people to that show. And it's usually those that are looking at some marketing platform that they need, or their existing customer that wants to purchase something else or just go there to learn. So not many conversations are lower level technology related. Yeah.
Now, there's still a few technical tracks that happen at the summit. I know last year we hit up a couple of them that were pretty technical. Do you get a chance to actually go to any of the presentations, any of the talks, or are you stuck in that?
No, I sneak away for a few. I try to sneak out long bathroom break or something like that.
Sure.
No, I do. I haven't looked at the session list. I guess I have. I started my wish list. I won't. I probably have every slot pretty much, booked, but I won't be able to do that. But I do want to get to a few things. And, I really like to go, when I go to these type of conferences, obviously a lot of it's about talking to clients and prospects and things like that. But I like to go to sessions where I don't know much about something, So, I may go look at, Media Optimizer or something like that, just because, you either do that, you go and sit in a session for an hour and you can gather just about everything that you need to know, to learn about it, or you go offline and you start searching online and reading about it, and it's just much more effective to go to a session.
A lot of lies.
Yeah, that's it.
That marketing fluff.
You get all that marketing fluff, right? And I'll go to the keynotes too, because quite honestly, I think the other side of Summit is that, you come out of Summit really stoked for the rest of the year, because Adobe does such a nice job of pumping up everybody, the opportunity in the market, exciting things that you can do, and not always necessarily related to Adobe technologies. I think it's also a good measuring stick of where digital and those things are going.
Right.
Yeah.
There was big news a couple weeks ago, maybe almost a month ago, that Adobe will be moving its AM hosting to Microsoft, to Azure.
Yeah.
Do you think that'll be addressed at Summit? Do you think that'll be big news, or?
I think it will be. I haven't looked at the keynote agendas, but I would imagine that will be a big part of the keynote agenda. I don't know if I'd probably be executive level of Microsoft and Adobe, so I think it'll be quite the topic. Yeah.
As a partner of Adobe, how do you think does that change the landscape for ICF, for Olson Digital at all, or will our focus change at all? Will it have any effect, or is it exciting news? Is it bad news?
It's technology, everything's always changing, and you have to embrace that, and I think it'll be a new challenge, and challenges are exciting. So I do think it will change. It will change some of the, and maybe it won't change them. It might enhance or expand, capabilities that and new opportunities for us. So, we all know most of, at least AEM is hosted on AWS, right? And I think that from a platform usage perspective, I think the Adobe platforms are probably primarily using the compute side of AWS. They're not using a lot of the other services.
Right.
And that might be because initially it was just, host this thing, right? But now probably after, 4 or 5 years, whatever, since they started hosting on AWS, and we also do that, of course, but I think there's the platform, both AWS and Azure have grown, beyond compute. So when we talk about machine learning and AI and, all this BI stuff, and as well as the big data and workflow management, all those capabilities are in AWS, but here with this partnership with Microsoft, it's a business partnership, but I think as the Adobe platforms get put into Azure, you're going to see a lot more usage of those other capabilities and services. It's just not going to be a hosting environment. I think they're going to leverage all of Azure's data analysis type stuff, all the other things, IoT, where they could have done AWS too, but I think this just, by changing it up, it probably resets their thinking, and with a very strategic partnership, they're going to dig in deep, I think, into some integration with that type of stuff.
Yeah, making it part of a bigger technical ecosystem than just the silo
and just the silo hosting
existed in. Yeah.
And I know, and it's funny because we do, our team, right, our innovation team does a lot of work with the Adobe stack and all the AWS capabilities like IoT and IoT, Lambda, all these type of things. So I think that probably we'll see that type of integration, and so I think that's opportunity. I mean, we, for us, obviously, I know Pat has a very deep Microsoft experience, right? Came from that world.
That's where my roots are.
But it's interesting. It's interesting now because Microsoft's opened it up a lot now. So it's not just, you're not just running .NET on Azure. You're running whatever you want.
Right.
And
that's right.
There's a lot of feature parity now between like what AWS offers, what Azure offers in terms of, we do a lot with Lambdas, and they have an analogous function in Azure land that you can sort of do the same sort of stuff with. So, there's a lot of complementary skill sets that you develop, even if you've done the development on AWS, that are broadly applicable.
Well, there's certainly a need for the cloud computing capabilities, right? Because when you're using AEM or Campaign, any of the products from Adobe or any other marketing products, you need integrations.
Yeah.
Right. And something scalable that microservice based and processing, that's a great solution, right? To build a middle tier between one of your products and another without having to change the endpoints or the API of either product, right? So it's
also enforces good architecture.
Yeah, exactly. And there's some benefits there. Now those have existed in AWS, they exist in Azure, but I think more and more we're going to see when there's 20 integrations, it doesn't make sense to go to a product company and say, hey, can you change the API because I can't consume it, when you can build your own middle tier that is on the same platform as, AAM being one of your biggest products.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that's important.
Right.
And that's something that needs to be highlighted, especially when you're selling these products or services or, pitching how to do something. That needs to be at the forefront. Is like, this is how you can do it in a way that it makes cost sense. You don't have to spin up all your own servers. You also, it will scale with you. You get a million. You go from 100,000 to 1 million users. The middleware would definitely be able to handle it.
Yeah, I think it'll drive some innovation too because of some of those reasons you said.
Yeah.
You can try things out pretty easily, quickly, and you don't have to build out your hardware infrastructure.
Right.
You kind of have a lot more building blocks.
From an overall architecture perspective, I mean, good service and microservice architecture would sort of entail that you don't have silos that are based on, what cloud provider you happen to be using. So like in our innovation team, for example, we've got things in AWS that are piping data into a data lake that's sitting in Azure, and then things in AWS that are consuming insights from that data lake and like derived data points from that data lake back in AWS. So there's this, from a high level topology perspective, it doesn't matter that these things are in different places. So, and with a lot of the Adobe services, the core services, the analytics, the targets, all being cloud services, to some extent integrating with these services, it doesn't necessarily matter that it's sitting in Azure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, if anything, I think just the announcement of it moving to Azure is going to call attention to some of the benefits of Azure. Yeah, there was never an announcement that it's, the managed services, Adobe Managed Services is running on AWS in the same way.
No, you're right, exactly. It just kind of happened.
It just had been happening, and so it wasn't. Yeah. When you're in the industry, sure, but like for that announcement to go out to the marketing world to say, hey, we're moving it. These are some of the advantages. I think. I mean, it betters it for everyone, especially on the tech side.
Yeah. So let's get to what we actually brought you here to talk about, which I think is calculus. So. Better get that energy up, man, because we are ready to rock.
I should have more coffee.